Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Test,
Oh,
test,
okay.
test.
It's working. We could do
It's
this.
good.
It's so professional. We're so professional. Hello, everybody.
Are we
Welcome.
live?
Oh, we're live, man.
Oh,
Well,
we live.
not live, but we're
Yeah, not
on.
live.
I tweeted out right before we were about to come on, Corin, give me poll questions.
Oh, okay, good.
I asked people for poll questions. And
Any good ones?
We're going to find out right now. I don't know. There's 83 responses, so hopefully there'll be some polls in there.
I feel like a cigarette smoker, man, who's like really been going strong on not having a cigarette with Twitter. I'm like,
Oh, shit.
yeah, I've been on a big break. The last time I checked was, I think, when my daughter was born. I might have checked or some shit because I was just sitting in the hospital. So that's like,
That's the last time you checked?
yeah,
Okay, so hold on. I think you're on to something here because I know there are times I have flashes of it where I'm like, oh shit, I'm kind of addicted to Twitter. Like I have flashes of it where I'm like,
yeah, but that's your job. It's not my. It's not like.
but it's a little bit of a problem. Like I will be doing some shit and I'll be like, okay, I'm done with Twitter for the night, and I'll X out Twitter, and then not even 2 minutes later, I'll just open a new tab and go to Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. Why did I do that? Like, I just said I don't want to do this anymore, and then I went right back to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's something that's like an issue. That's when you go, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe it's time to like unplug here for a little bit, because it's almost like it's like a reflex in a way. I don't even think about it. It's just like, whoop, Twitter. It just happens. It just like
I was doing that when I
develops.
woke up, dude. Like it was like I woke up and instantaneously it was like grab my phone, check Twitter, Instagram, and like Facebook. I deleted a while ago, but I posted for when my daughter was born. But like I came to the conclusion, like I mean, if you have a following and like people like what you're saying and like there's a purpose behind your shit, then yes, Twitter by all means. But like I was walking to work and I saw like a sale sign on a window and the shit was painted on there, so I tweeted like, if the sale sign is painted on your window, shit is definitely not on sale. And I was like, I think that's funny. But then later on I was like, who gives a fuck? Like what the fuck? Like who cares that I wrote that? Like who cares? I laughed at it. Why does someone else?
It's you know what? Because when you get positive feedback, it's like, oh, this is fun. Like this is good.
Yeah.
But I have made rules for myself with my Twitter usage. I don't really read my mentions ever. If I ever come across my mentions, it's by accident.
Smart.
Because I know what it's like to go through the mentions.
You could go down a fucking rabbit hole, I'm sure.
That's the thing is, like, I'm the type of person where if I have this thing where I'm like, I have to correct this. Like, it's just this thing I have where if I see something that's not true, I'm like, oh, I have to correct this. I can't just leave it. Like, I have to. And so somebody will say something that's not true, and I'll go to correct them, and then you're right, it becomes a rabbit hole because probably 50% of the people I'm responding to, they have no interest in like, oh, okay, I was factually wrong. Well, here,
exactly.
like they don't. It could be a right-winger trolling, or it could be just a troll trolling for trolling's sake.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like every now and then you might get somebody who's like, oh shit, my bad. But most of the time it's like, it's not like an actual exchange, because that's what happens, I think, when you're on the internet. That's what it's like. You're not going to get exchanges that are like regular
positive,
exchanges because you're not sitting face to face with the person, and you don't feel like the other person's human. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it's online, you could shit on somebody and then just act like it's totally fine because you're so disconnected from that person that it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Imagine like being at a fucking gas station and like just being like, hey, like you left your gas pump open. And if someone's like, oh yeah, thanks so much, man, appreciate that. But like if that went down on Twitter, like just some little shit like that, like just a little comment, someone will be like, well, gas pumps technically can stay open for 5+ hours alone without you noticing and commenting on it. Like, and then you're just like,
yeah, there'd be a fight.
Yeah, just a whole big fight that like in real life, you're right. Like some shit that you would say to someone, they would just take it and be like, okay.
Yes. Exactly.
So I don't know. I'll probably get back on there. Okay,
so here are The Rock versus Stone Cold is one. That's a good poll.
That is a really good one.
I'm gonna omit the ones there. I'm like favorite porn, but they didn't even give options, like missionary versus doggy versus reverse cowgirl versus.
I had a friend who went to the Chicago car show the other day, and they had little iPads next to all the new computers. He put YouPorn on all of the fucking iPads.
Oh my god! Oh my
Like,
god.
he sent me a snap, and it was just like he was looking at the car, and then he panned down to the iPad, and it had you porn on it, and then he walked away. I was like, "That's so genius."
They didn't put the fucking like kids lock on it for a
No,
public thing.
anywhere. Like, you go to the Mac store and get on browsers. I'm sure they probably block it at the Mac
Really?
store.
Oh shit. They just
There's a
gotta
lot of places where you can. Do you remember in high school? I think it was high school. They used to block certain like web pages that you like couldn't go to or something like that. But there was always a way to like
go around it.
yeah, like Google the website and then like find a link within the website and get in there somehow.
Did your parents ever have the lock on your shit?
No,
No, they didn't
no.
for me either. I think I told a story once on air about how when I was young, I went to a porn site, and then like the next day, my mom was using the computer, and she found the thing, and she's like, "Kyle, did you do this?" And I was like, "No."
Oh, she found the link?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It used to be a site called whitehouse.com, but it was porn. Or I don't know if it was .com or .net or some shit. It was an old porn site, whitehouse dot something. And then somebody had told me about it in school, like, hey man, if you go to this shit, they won't even know it's porn because it's whitehouse dot whatever. And I was like, oh my god, that's so brilliant. And then I went to it, but the problem is, like, you know how sometimes when you type a link in, you type something in and press enter for a website, other shit comes up after it.
Yeah.
So it was like whitehouse.com/cum jizz balls. So my mom found it. She's like, is this you? I didn't fess up to it. I was like, no.
Oh,
And then maybe that's why my parents got divorced. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
But
she definitely knew that shit, but wasn't gonna put you on blast. I sort of respect her for that.
I was young, man. That was and then I remember I told somebody, you know who this is because I've told you this story off air. But there's this dude who we knew, and I told him in class, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, man, did you know that if you like jerk your dick long enough, white stuff will come out? He was like, what? I was like, yeah, that happens. He's like, no. I was like, yeah, go try it.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain age, you got to figure that shit out. Like,
yeah, you do. I figured it out before, like, nobody told me.
Yeah.
I think it was like a rumor, and then I tried it, and then on like the 6th attempt, it worked. Because I had done it a few times, and it didn't work. And I was like, why is this not working? And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going until it fucking works. And then I did it until it worked. I was like, oh my god, it's real. It's not fake.
Ugh.
I was amazed by it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's a fucking fascinating thing to see. It's like some fireworks or some shit.
Well, it's not that special. Imagine fireworks came out of your dick hole. Okay, so we got Rock vs. Stone Cold.
Can you throw like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man on that shit, or is it just like new school?
That's like limited to the Attitude Era, I think.
I feel like Mankind was in there in that era, like making a strong case.
Well, here's a good one: New World Order versus D-Generation X. That's good.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Let's see.
But
Best Gatorade flavors.
The light blue shit, is that Arctic Blue?
But see, if you start adding in, you got to go with just the classics. You got to go with
blue,
red, blue, green, orange.
Green
Did I
or
say
yellow?
Green? I meant yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, the yellow shit. I think blue would smack that. It would be blue, red. I'm very confident it would be blue, red, yellow, orange, or orange, yellow.
Blue, red, yellow. Which is your favorite?
Blue.
Me too.
Yeah, blue is banging. The blue one, the dark blue one is good, and then they came out with the light blue one, which is even better. I like all of those. Like, they came out with like a light greenish one. I even like that jizz colored white one.
Oh, that one's good. The Arctic shit.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good one. My favorite is blue, and then red, and then orange, and then yellow.
What was it? Blue, orange,
blue, red, orange, yellow. That's my
that's
order.
what I think. That's what I think it's going to be too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that one's out. Let's do D-Generation X versus New World Order.
That's a tough. I think DX wins that one.
What's it called? A wrestling group? No, is it a group or clique? I don't know what the fuck to call it.
Wrestling Alliance?
DX, NWO.
feel like Alliance is just
Alliance might
fancy
work. I'm just gonna go with group and be vague as fuck.
Yeah, I don't even know how to spell Alliance. ALLIANCE.
Best Attitude Era wrestler, Stone Cold versus The Rock.
What's Attitude Era?
Attitude Era is like the era after where WWF stopped caring about being like kid friendly and started doing sex jokes and showing titties and shit.
Yeah, they sort of got a little raunchy.
Yeah, that was actually right when we were in like middle school and high school. That's when they were in the Attitude Era. It was good. It was good. It's widely viewed as like one of the best wrestling eras.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Definitely beats the shit out of today's nonsense.
Yeah, I saw a highlight of Ric Flair like straight making out with a girl in the ring, and I think it was from. Well, he was older. It might have been the tail end of that.
Ric Flair was born old.
Yeah, I know that's true.
He really like they said, oh, his hair's blonde and some shit I saw, but no, it's like that shit has always been like white.
Yeah, he came out with that fucking hair. He looked like he looked now, just as a baby. Like one of those plush pillows.
Yeah, 100%. He was born with like wrinkles and that hair and shit.
He came out like, woo!
Woo!
The nature boy.
Indica or sativa, but you and I really don't smoke weed.
No.
Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio? No.
Fuck that poll.
Jelly, jam, honey, marmalade.
You do like peanut butter versus Nutella versus jelly?
Nah. Everybody knows Nutella blows that shit out the water.
I don't really like Nutella.
Yeah, you don't like Nutella. You're the only person in the world that doesn't like Nutella.
I know. I never got behind that shit. It's like chocolate nutmeg, hazelnut.
It's like it's some kind of nut, no pun intended. You're right. It's like hazelnut and fucking
I think it's a hazelnut.
chocolate. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. We're good with those few. I mean, we could do New York versus Chicago pizza, but I think New York will crush that shit.
Yeah, I think there's more New Yorkers to vote in that shit.
Yeah, and New York pizza. I mean, Chicago pizza's good, but it's not.
It's not. No. Yeah, New York's good because it's just quick, easy, like slice. You could just down that shit.
Yeah, you said Chicago's like a literal pie.
Yeah, you got it. It's like a whole. It's a whole thing. It's a whole meal.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at that for today. All right, so I have a little surprise for everybody. Come my next show, I got this awesome light hanging in the studio now.
Like above you, like a halo?
No, it's over my right hand shoulder.
So there's the two TVs behind you.
Now one of those TVs dropped down big time. And then this studio light, it's kind of like a bar light. It says the Kyle Klinsky Show. That's above that TV. And it's hot. It's really hot. And
like a neon light?
Yes. And then I pushed forward the other TV, and I'm going to play videos on that when I want to show a video.
Oh.
Yeah, so I switched it up a little bit in terms of, instead of cutting to a video, where I say like, okay, let's watch this. Now it's going to be, I could play it. And I like that a little better because then I'll be more inclined to stop it and talk about it as I go. So
you'll still be on the screen when the video's showing.
Yeah. And I used to do like I used to play the whole shit. To say it's a 2-minute clip, I'll play the 2-minute clip and then respond to every point after. But if I do it this way, it's easier to just stop and I could talk a little bit, play. Stop, talk a little bit, play. If I want to on a certain video.
That's dope.
But the thing about it was a fucking pain in the ass, man. To get it in. Like, nothing's fucking easy.
No.
Nothing's easy. I was amazed by it. Like, so to fucking measure it, and then there was the drilling into the ceiling and fucking like all this shit, and you got to do everything exactly right. And then when you're done, I looked at it on the camera, way too bright. Shit was just fucking like almost you couldn't make out parts of the light because it was so bright. So I was like, this is fucking miserable. But then, that's when you have to just keep fucking with it. I went into the manual brightness thing on the camera, and I had to touch different parts of the screen to, like, okay, lower this shit, and it would go down, and then it started to look good. But then I was pitch black, and then I was like, I got to brighten this part of the screen and fucking make this part of the screen darker. So it was a giant pain in the ass. But at the end of it, I was like, oh, okay, finally, it looks like it worked. And I'm still probably going to fuck it up in 8 different ways come the first show.
I'm surprised you stayed with it and not just like, we're just like, fuck it, I'm leaving it. Well, after the 4th attempt.
Well, see, that's the thing about me is that I like having a schedule and sticking to my schedule and going through my stuff. But when something deviates from the schedule, it fucking annoys the shit out of me. And this is one of those examples. Like, I don't want to spend half the fucking day trying to figure out. And that's the point is, like, when people look at it on screen, they're going to be like, oh, number one, that looks good. But number two, that probably took a few minutes just to put it up. No, that shit took half a fucking day. It was like 4 hours of shit. And it was just a fucking pain in the ass. But thankfully now it's over. And hopefully I'll like it like this and keep it like this. And hopefully
the first video, that shit's just gonna like fall on your head or something.
But that's always what happens. The first video in the new studio was like the camera was fucking crooked. Well, actually, what's interesting is the camera wasn't crooked. The camera was perfectly level, but it needed to be crooked. Like, isn't that weird? That I made sure I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the camera perfectly level. And then I made it level, and then everybody in the video was like, "This shit is crooked as fuck." And I was like,
"So you had to? That probably would piss so many people. Like if you had to slant it yourself a little bit."
So then I realized afterwards, I'm like, okay, so the move is not to make it level, because if I make it level, it's gonna look crooked. The move is to make it look straight, even though it's not straight. So you look at the screen and go, okay, that looks straight, and then you look at the leveler thing, and it's totally out of whack. It's like your shit is crooked fucking 14 degrees, but being crooked 14 degrees makes it look level. You see what I'm saying?
Not at all.
I think you do see what I'm saying. So I made it level the first time to record a show in the new studio, but a camera looking level in the studio looks fucking crooked. A camera sitting level looks crooked when you look at it on the video.
Okay.
And so I had to make the camera crooked in order to make it look straight. In order to make it look level.
So is that sort of like the rear view mirror shit? Like the shit could be slanted as fuck, but it is like straight in your mirror?
No, not really.
Oh, because that I could see is like you sometimes have to turn that downward and diagonal, but you could still see your whole window.
Okay, then yeah, that is kind of like what I'm talking about. Like you needed it super crooked just to see right, just to see properly.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's kind of like what it is with the camera.
Okay.
So, but the point is, it's always a fucking learning experience. The lights were too bright and washed me out for years, and there's all these fucking issues. That's what happens. It's a learning experience, which is why sometimes
you're gonna get blowback from people regardless on your first
always,
video.
No matter what. Even if it's a clear like step in the right direction for 80% of the audience, there's still gonna be 20. Well, that's what happened when I changed the picture. I changed my picture. And people were like, you look like a vice principal. And so I changed it back. I was like, all right, you guys win. I'll change it back.
Oh, you changed it back?
Yeah, I changed it back and got rid of I took the orange man picture and I de-orangified it a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just changed like the lighting fucking, like got rid of some brightness or some shit. I don't know what it's saturation. Yeah, it was all right, but I just changed the saturation a little bit, tweaked it a little bit. But yeah, there's always going to be issues where people are, even if it's a step in the right direction, 20% will be like, put it back.
Yeah.
So
you remember your AIM chat thing? You can put a little icon in the corner. Mm-hmm. I think I used to have the dude from Jimmy Neutron, his boy Carl Weezer.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He used to be in my corner.
Man, I loved AIM. AIM was so great.
It was so weird though. Like, why would I put him?
Oh, why would you put that guy? Well,
yeah, like why would anybody put anything?
Who didn't put some weird shit on their AIM?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's like a given. It's like people with their Skype shit now. They'll put some random shit.
Yeah. They should bring back those fucking chat rooms. Like, there's no real chat rooms anymore.
There were probably so many pedophiles.
Oh, there was so much pedophiles going on. But like, if you like the specific like Nickelodeon show, I used to go into chat rooms and just talk about that shit.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
they were fucking awesome. Where else can you find a forum like that? Like, I mean, you can go to a podcast with a specific like Nickelodeon show.
I guess they do. There's Reddit, obviously. People do their shit on Reddit.
What's that?
Reddit's like a message board. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the best way to fucking describe it. People are gonna laugh at us right now because Reddit is so big online, and you and I just don't know enough about it. But it's where you go and you talk about different fucking topics, and it's like a message board and shit. It's huge. And then there's Discord now. There's a Discord, which is like some other shit that people like to talk to each other on. There's a Secular Talk Discord that's pretty active. Shout out to my Secular Talk people on the Discord situation.
So they go on there and
Lilith,
just talk about shit they see on Secular Talk?
Yeah, they're a community. So people who listen to Secular Talk, specifically people who listen to the Secular Talk live show. That's like, they're like a community. So
I remember that like back in the day when we used to do this shit. There would be like a little chat room within Blog Talk Radio.
Yep, that's right.
That's it, right?
It's similar to that, and then the people who go in there are also the people who go to the Discord thing.
Oh, so it's a separate spot.
It's a separate spot, but it's the same people. Because the Secular Talk live show people, it's a close-knit community because my live show is done low tech.
Uh-huh.
The live show is just it's almost like I'm talking to you through a phone. Like I'm having a conversation with you through a regular telephone. So the treble's fucking high, the audio doesn't sound professional. Like this audio that we have is actually semi-professional because this is one of the better quality USB microphones. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this isn't like the higher level for the YouTube show. It's the higher level microphone, one step above this. But this is a pretty good USB microphone. But like for the live show, it's low tech. It's just like it sounds like I'm talking to everybody through a telephone. And like 90% of people, when they go listen to that, they're like, I don't want to listen to this because the sound quality is important to people. It's certainly important to me. Like I like when I'm listening to something on YouTube, I like to hear a crisp, nice, high-quality sound or a podcast or some shit. So it's almost like the live show is like that on purpose, and it kind of keeps the Secular Talk community for the live show kind of close-knit because most people, the overwhelming majority of people, listen to
the YouTube videos.
To the YouTube stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, shout out to those people. Because I remember those like chats. Like when we first started, like, well, you were on Blog Talk shit before, but like the times I would look at the little chat thing.
Like 2013, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It would be like 4 people in the shit, and it would just be like guest 1876
yes.
4 5 thing. Like,
yes.
I think that's my dad listening.
Humble beginnings, baby. That's how we do it.
But then shout out to Lilith. Yeah, you're right. Because I remember like I went into the chat room one time, like when it was a little bigger, and she was like responding to everybody. Like she like gave me a shout out on the shit.
She runs it. She runs the chat. So, yeah, she's awesome. But it's funny because people like I get emails sometimes like of somebody saying like I'm thinking of starting this kind of thing or this kind of thing, and in my mind I'm always going, you kind of already lost here. Now I know people will go, that's harsh, Kyle. Why would you say that? But I'm saying that because if you're really going to do it, you're going to do it. Like, you're just going to do it. You're not going to try to reach out to me or reach out to your uncle or reach out to anybody. You're just going to start doing it. Yeah. And it's going to suck, and you're going to hate the fact that you're not getting enough attention at the beginning, and it's going to be super low tech, and you're going to have all these problems, but you're going to be fucking doing it. And then as time goes by, you'll get better and better and better, and everything will improve gradually, and all that shit will happen. But the people who always reach out first, I'm always like, that's not a good sign. Yeah. Like, it's one thing if you already are doing some shit, and then you reach out and ask me a specific question. Like, hey, what's up with this kind of audio situation? Okay, then your ball's already rolling. Mm-hmm. But if you hit me before, I'm always like, I wish you the best. I really do mean that. But you gotta, there's too much talking going on here, not enough acting.
Yeah, and that's like what I do. Yeah,
that's the other dirty little secret is that people think like, "Oh man, you must have known what you were doing all along." Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing on YouTube. No. That's the dirty little secret. Even people who have the highest production quality on YouTube, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I remember Rogan tweeted out one time like his audio company or some shit was fucked up, and like like they had a problem with their audio or something like that.
Right.
And they had to like figure out a new company to use or some shit like that. Like they were still putting pieces together on their audio, and he's got the most major shit out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what happens. People, because when you're doing a YouTube thing or you're doing a podcast, usually people get into that because they have something they want to do already.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their focus. That's their focus. Their focus is not, I'm an audio person and I'm going to get the best audio, or I'm a video person and I know exactly which camera to get. Or, man, am I great at editing? Like, no, usually people who want to do some shit, they might have a lot to talk about that specific thing that they want to talk about. But outside of that, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. I mean, think about the way it works with old media. With old media, you have thousands of employees. So if you're brought in to be somebody who is a reporter or somebody who's an entertainer, that's what you do. That's what you do. You're not, if you
building a house or some shit, you can't be an interior designer or something.
Right. Like, yeah, like what are you going to, you're the interior designer, but all of a sudden they're going to tell you, okay, you got to put the scaffolding up for the house. Why don't do scaffolding? What the fuck are you talking about? What does that mean? What are you saying? So that's the thing is like, and I noticed it. So there are these golf YouTubers who I watch their videos, and they're professional golfers. They teach. They're teaching pros. So like they give lessons to people and shit. But they wanted to do YouTube channels, and so they started up YouTube channels, and they needed to learn about the cameras, try out a whole bunch of different fucking cameras, then also get editing and uploading down. So there's all this shit that they had to learn just to do it. And that's the thing. I think that's the theme of today's show. Nothing is fucking easy.
Yeah.
And what's so frustrating is that everything looks easy. Everything looks easy. That's certainly my reaction when I see somebody doing some shit. I'm like, they're making that shit look easy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not easy. There's usually so much work that goes into doing the fucking most minor thing imaginable.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why, I always found, like, work-obsessed people a little weird. Like, why are you, like, there's not even all that much shit to do. Like, what are you doing? But then you stop and think about it, and you're like, no, there is so much shit to do. It's fucking overwhelming.
Yeah. There's a lot of fucking moving parts that go on with shit that you don't see it. And, like, a good show makes you not realize that shit.
Yeah.
But like you said, just fucking hanging a new light or some shit is just like, oh, you must have just put that shit up there. But it's like, no, a whole day went into that fucking thing.
Yes. you didn't have the right size fucking screw that you needed. And yeah,
that's why sometimes people like that behind the scenes shit where it's just like, I'm going to take you behind the scenes for a day and show you what the fuck really goes. Like, people probably see you and they're just like, damn, he gets on air, he kills his stories, and that's it. Like, it's like, no. There's mad time behind that shit. Like,
oh my God, are you
articles
kidding me?
And piecing shit together. Like, that would be a dope fucking thing to do, like a behind the scenes, like a day in the life.
I always said you couldn't do a documentary. So Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, he had a documentary done about him, but he was able to have that done because he was doing his show and then also working at MSNBC. And then he also has a compelling story because he left MSNBC because he refused to stop bashing the Democrats. He was like, I'm going to tell the truth no matter what. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to move you to the weekends. They were trying to like hide him basically and pay him hush money. And he's like, no, I'm good. And so he rejected a lot of money and it was able to keep his integrity and then go back on his show. Mm-hmm. And that's a good story to tell. But I always said you can't do a fucking documentary about me because the general rule is for every fucking hour you see me on air, there's, double that amount of time at least that went into prepping that hour. So there's nothing to see but me reading articles and fucking listening to clips and jacking off. Like all it is, it's just like, cut to me eating, cut to me fucking reading, cut to me taking a shit.
Yeah, but I'm sure a good fucking director or some shit could make it interesting. Like, hey, what are you doing now? And it's just like, oh, I'm reading this website. I like this one because it talks about this and that. Like, you think it wouldn't be interesting because it's just you doing your shit. But there's a lot of people out there that, like, if a good director was like, all right, you wake up, what do you do first? And you're like, I got to check this because that, that's where everything's happening. And like,
yeah, maybe you're right. Because that is a bias that people have. I know I have it. I know that when I know something, my default position is that, well, obviously everybody knows this. And then people are like, no, you idiot. Like, you're the only person that knows that. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a bias I have. So you're right. Maybe there is something to that. I guess we should do, when we go to LA, we should do some behind the scenes recording.
I'll document that shit. Yeah. I'll record it.
That'll be fun for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I noticed that shit at work. Like when they hire someone new and I have to train them on like programs and all this stuff. To me, it's like yeah, you just click this shit, and then that
Yes.
opens up, and then you just type that
And
in,
they don't
and you're
get
good.
it. They're like, I don't know what you just said.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But then you show it to them, and you're like, oh, there is actually a lot of fucking pieces that go into this shit.
Yes.
Like,
That's why, have you ever, it's the weirdest thing. Have you ever, when you used to play video games, have you ever had somebody ask you, oh, how do you do the shoot button if you're playing an NBA game? And you're like, oh, you just,
yeah.
and you don't know what button it is because you're just used to doing it in the game. So you can't describe it. You just know how to do it.
It's fucking true as shit.
That's true. Yeah, and that's the exact same fucking thing you're talking about. You're just assuming that, well, obviously they're going to learn how to do this because I can do this shit really easy. You just press that and press that and press that. And then when they tell you, like, no, it's actually difficult, you're like, oh, yeah, hold on. I did just press 47 buttons to get this shit done.
Yeah.
Damn.
Unless you're like a fucking Street Fighter nerd and you could remember the combos. Like,
Yeah, but who
I think
can
my
do
brother-
that?
my brother knows like one combo of some shit. It's like left, right, up, right. Like some crazy shit that like they did in Street Fighter or something.
Well, I got the new WWE, one of the newer games. And
For what? What system?
For Xbox One.
Oh, okay, good. I like Xbox better.
I got an Xbox One for my birthday.
That's a good poll, Xbox versus PlayStation. Just a side note.
Oh, okay. That is a good one. We'll do that next
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was I saying? Xbox.
Oh, you
versus-
got the WWE game.
Oh, so I got the WWE game, and I'm an old school No Mercy guy, WrestleMania 2000 guy, talking N64. And what's interesting is I saw a lot of YouTube shit on this since I was interested in it recently, and apparently it's almost unanimous. Everybody's like, "Oh, the best wrestling game ever is fucking No Mercy." It's not even close. Like virtually every, like you go to fucking Amazon and that game goes going for like $100 today. It's an N64
Seriously?
game. Yes. So anyway, this is my long way of saying I got this new WWE game. I went to go play it. Trash. Utter trash. I'm like, this is not, why don't they just have a fucking similar shit to No Mercy since they knew they knocked it out of the park with that shit? Have similar controls, but they totally changed everything and it's fucking like just trash.
I hate that shit.
Like you have to make a game that's intuitive enough for people to want to keep playing. You know what I mean? Like it can't be so fucking out there. That was the mistake they made with some other wrestling games is like they made the combos like that shit, like down, up, left, right.
Yeah, like just let me press A, B, and maybe A one more time or some shit.
Yeah, and you could throw a curveball at me to get the finisher. You got to do 2 buttons at once or some shit, but you gotta you gotta make it somewhat intuitive.
Yeah. That's why I think like old school Street Fighter was like chilling and people liked Super
That's
Nintendo or
Street
Sega
Fighter
Genesis.
versus Mortal Kombat versus Tekken.
Ooh, that's a good
poll.
one.
All right,
Street
I gotta
Fighter-
write these down.
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, yeah. Then was there another shit?
Yeah, we just said it.
Oh,
Street
was it
Fighter.
versus Mortal Kombat versus Tekken, but then was there a fourth banger? Like a fourth karate motherfucker fucking people up?
We can think about that in a second. And what was the other one that you just said? Xbox versus PlayStation.
Yeah, just straightforward. I
Versus
like
PC?
Xbox.
No. But should we throw the PC in there or no? I think PC game might not kind of knock that out of the water though, because a lot of people play PC games.
Really? Still? I
And
feel like
that's
back
the-
in the day, PC was hot with like Sims and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
No, that's like the biggest shit that people say. Everybody's making fun of me when for our Mac versus PC thing from the last. They were like, Kyle's like fucking giving opinions that are like 4 years old. Like that shit is not the case anymore.
Those were the golden eras, bro.
But the thing is, like, PC was one of the main things where everybody's like, oh, PC is just way better than Mac for gaming. Like, Mac for gaming is buns.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's not
PC
built
for gaming is awesome. That's what people
you could
say.
hook up joysticks to your shit and fucking probably some crazy headgear and
Yeah.
some dick
Some
fucking
VR porn,
machine.
which is coming out soon.
That shit probably is coming out soon, right?
Yeah. I've always had, like, I've never had a fleshlight or anything like that. I've always had kind of a mental block of, like, I feel like I'm not against it. Like,
flashlight.
fleshlight is like, it looks like a flashlight, but it's got like a fake pussy. And so you fuck it and then you nut in it and then you clean it out.
They definitely sold that shit at Hot Topics.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Remember Hot Topics?
Oh,
It was
of course, yeah.
that was such a scary store to go in.
It was just a weird store.
Such a weird
Spencer's
store.
Gifts. Remember Spencer's Gifts?
Yeah, that was like the opposite of Hot Topic. That was like sort of like quirky-ish, right? Like where you could get like a
Oh, so
like a
Hot
Sesame
Topic was
Street
like
shirt or some
seriously
shit.
goth, and
Yeah.
Spencer's Gifts was like LOL. We're just joking that we're goth.
Yeah, it's like an emoji T-shirt or
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
true. I wonder if those shit. I wonder if they're still open.
I think so, but malls that have to. I go into some malls sometimes now, and I'm just like, I see stores that I'm just like, there's two employees working in the shit. I'm just like, how the fuck are you guys in business?
Yeah.
Like in the Galleria, there's that store where Gap used to be on the top floor that sells all those dress shirts, and I know like we went in that store together, but that store is humongous, and they sell like fucking suits for like $37.
How the fuck are they in business? They
How
gotta
are they
be
in
laundering drug money or some shit.
Some shit. And there's just so many empty stores now.
Yeah, I
Like
love looking at
candle
old
stores.
ruins, old mall ruins, malls that shut down in like 2007 or some shit, and then they take the cameras in there, and it just looks like a creepy apocalyptic scenario. Those are awesome pictures.
That's what they look like now. Even fucking malls that are still existing.
Yeah, that's true. There are very, very few people go there.
I went to a mall out here in Illinois, and I was walking through the aisle, and there was some like teddy bear, like veteran store or some shit. It was weird. Like the teddy bears were dressed up as like army and all this shit.
Was it Build-A-Bear shit?
No, it wasn't Build-A-Bear. It was like some weird fucking store that I was just like, how and why are you even a store? And the girl was standing outside with a big fucking teddy bear, and he was in some old like Vietnam shit, and she was like, "You want to buy a teddy bear?" And I was like, "No." Like, who goes in there and buys that shit? Like, who buys candles still?
Yeah. I honestly don't know how they pay the bills. I really don't, because
That's why I'm so confused.
I wonder how much it costs to have a storefront in a mall. Like, it's got to be a decent amount in rent per month. And then there's some stores. There's literally a treadmill store on Central Avenue.
There's
all they sell is treadmills.
I don't know how they do it.
How the fuck they have to be laundering drug money? Like,
it's got to be something weird.
There's the only explanation, right? Like, what the fuck else are you laundering? You have to be doing something to fucking pay the bills.
Or even those weird little, like, not even the full stores. The shit's in the middle of the hallway in the malls.
Yeah.
That like are just throwing like a splatter ball in the ground, and that shit just like splatters, and then you pick it up and it turns back into a ball.
Yeah, like all they're selling is shitty fucking like paperweights.
Shitty just products that they probably buy for like 47 cents in like Japan, and then they get some kids to like come in and buy it every so, or like you walk by and they're like floating some airplane shit, and the guy's like playing with it. You know those shits?
Yes,
in the
I
middle
do.
of the mall?
100%. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know how those fucking.
I'm
just
know
fascinated.
That in Miami, they had a booming fucking economy in like the 80s, 70s, and the 80s, and that was all because of cocaine money, all of it.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
All of it. So Miami had like more banks than any other place in the U.S., and it was 100% because of all the coke money coming in there. And isn't that fascinating? Like, that whole fucking area was economically booming because of one drug. It's like, that's what it takes, is like, and that's why you see that shit is sometimes simpler than people think, I guess, you know? Because, like, look at fucking what happened with Michigan and NAFTA and all the fucking car jobs, the car factories being shipped overseas and to Mexico and shit. And it's like, well, that was the shit that they had there. It was like Motor City, Detroit, and then they were no longer Motor City. They shipped all the jobs elsewhere, and then that shit immediately became shitty. Like, it went from this middle class, thriving fucking neighborhood
to just deserted.
Just deserted fucking
rundown crack
house, everything. Yeah. Isn't that weird as fuck? That's so weird that it's so simple. You just take away that one industry, and then it's just like, oh, well, everything collapsed. You know? That's why everybody should be scared. Like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen in, like, Saudi Arabia when we finally get off oil? Like, that shit is going to collapse, son. I mean, it is going to be chaos. It's going to be mayhem.
That's why, I mean, it's like a lot of people put all their eggs in one fucking basket, where it's like, even with the bank crash, it's like everybody put their whole shit they invested in just one thing. Like, it was, I don't know, stock market or like
didn't diversify.
one bank. Yeah, and then that whole shit crashed, and you're just like, fuck. everything was in that one thing.
Well, that was my dad. I've told this. I think I've told the story on air. He owned a dealership when I was a kid, a car dealership.
Yeah.
He sold it, invested pretty much all the money, lost it all.
I knew that story. Didn't he invest in like AOL or something like that?
No, a company called, I think it was Prodigy was the name of the company.
Oh, Prodigy, yes. And I think my mom and stepfather invested in that shit.
Because that
Prodigy was a shit for a hot second.
That was supposed to be the next like Google.
Yeah.
Like they were saying like, no, this is like, they thought Prodigy was going to be Google.
Yes.
And then a bunch of people invested in it. My dad put all of his money in there, and then that gets to your point where if you're not diversifying where you're putting your fucking money, that's what's going to happen. And I remember my mom was like telling my dad, like, you're an idiot. I just want you to know that. Before he lost the money. Before, my mom's like, that's not smart. That's and like my dad's like, no, it's a sure thing. Look at the numbers I've fucking, crunched here and blah, blah, blah. And my mom's like, don't do that. Don't do
Prodigy was the shit though. Like that shit had a lot of buzz around it.
Shit damn near bankrupted my family.
yeah, true. Probably mine too. We were probably broke as fuck because of that shit too. My mom was selling those like herbal fucking medicines and shit.
I have my uncle was selling like some fucking candle shit called like Melaleuca or some shit. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I think my mom's not Herbal Essence is the shit that's out now. What the fuck was her shit called?
Yeah, it's a real thing. Holy shit!
Is it really?
I went deep in the memory bank for that shit.
It's still. Imagine that shit
is
like
a fucking
now.
Ponzi scheme shit. It's probably one of those.
I don't trust any of those fucking things. There's a makeup thing my wife like wanted to do one time.
The wellness company, they say.
That's the name of the thing.
Is a mission to enhance the lives of those we touch by helping people reach their goals. What does that mean? This has got to be like one of those fucking things. But anyway, what were you saying?
No, just all those fucking things are so. There's a big makeup thing. Mary Jane or Mary.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mary something, and it's like they get so much women to fucking go to their like you ruin friendships like because it's like you call a friend that you trust, and you're like, hey, I'm selling this makeup shit, and you're like. Have to sell them on this shit, and your friend is just in an awkward position to be like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. And you keep fucking pressuring them and texting them like, hey, you might be interested in it. They do that shit with that the Shakeology shit is huge. I see so many people doing that shit with the milkshakes.
Yeah, I did it with knives back in the day. You remember that?
Oh, I remember I
did it with knives. There's this knife company that my friend sold knives for. And then
but that's a grind. I guess you get some experience from that because you went door to door selling knives, right?
No, I sold like one shit or maybe two.
Oh, I thought you used to like actually sell that shit.
How the fuck can I sell more than 2 sets of knives? Who the fuck do I know who's gonna buy knives? What am
I don't know. I
bring it to you and Vinny when we're younger. Like, you guys want to buy some knives? It was like a fucking kitchen set. Who the fuck did I know when I was 17?
Those from you.
What's that?
I feel like my mom would have bought one of those.
Maybe she did. I feel like maybe it was like your mom and like one other person, and then I was like, "That's it. I'm not even gonna fucking do this anymore. I don't even know why I'm doing this."
That's a hustle, though. Like
it was the dumbest thing ever. I had to sit through like a class or some shit. I'm like, "You're giving me a class on selling knives?" It's just the weirdest fucking thing.
Do you remember how it worked? Did you have to like pay? Like, did you have to pay them?
No, I didn't have to pay. But it was creepy. It was definitely like one of those Ponzi scheme things because like they wanted you to fucking sell the knives and then also get other people to sell the knives.
Oh, so that's probably how they... Yeah,
it's some weird shit like that where it was definitely like a semi-scam type shit.
And they were making money off each sale probably or some shit?
Something. I'm sure it was like the Primerica fucking... Remember that?
Yeah. At least you were selling something. They have that shit now that Wish You Were Here or some shit where it's just like... You get people to join and you pay like a monthly membership. I remember some guy in one of my basketball leagues was trying to get me to do it. And I was just like, so I pay them what? $300 and then what? And then he's like, oh, you travel for less. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I could just go on Google and find a cheap ass flight. Like, I don't need to fucking do some shit with an app that like will take me to some weird place. Like when I want to go somewhere, I'll just find a good rate.
Anytime you don't immediately understand what the product is, they're scamming you. That's the general rule. If you don't immediately understand what the product is, then there's some sort of scam and there's some sort of catch. That's the general rule. And I know, man, I saw this shit when I was a car salesman. Now, you know me, I have the fault of being extremely honest at all times with everybody.
Yeah.
But when you're a car salesman and you got to hustle, that doesn't work as well. Like, I sold a decent number of cars, but I was not, like, the top salesman was well versed in bullshit. Just fucking swimming in bullshit. And that's the job of a good salesman. And that's the shit that older generations like that shit. They like to be finessed. They like to be fucking led down that path by somebody who sounds like they're in command of the situation.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, I think our generation is the opposite. Our generation is like,
we're so skeptical.
I want that shit and don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how it was when we just bought our last, Molly got a new Mazda. And the guy selling us the car was like the web guy. He wasn't like an actual salesman.
Oh,
like
so he kept it real.
Yeah, no, but he didn't know his shit. So he was trying to be like...
But that's even better, though. That's even better. Because he was trying to bullshit you, though?
He was trying to bullshit without, like, knowing his shit, but Molly was falling for it. Like, he was like, he would show us another car and not know anything about it and just be like, yeah, it's got this, this, and this. It's got all the bells and whistles. And Molly's, like, looking at me like, this one has all the bells and whistles. I'm like... But what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, he's got to tell you, like, sunroof, leather seats, heated steering wheel.
He just said bells and whistles, and Molly was like, "This car's got everything."
That's the salesman talk right there. It's got all the bells and whistles.
I was like, "What the fuck is bells and whistles?" Like, I want to know. Is it navigation? Like, is it?
But the real bullshit artists. I've told everybody this before. It's the business managers, not the salesmen. There can be bullshit salesmen, but there are also honest salesmen, like I was. And by the way, you can tell the honest salesman by the one who's not trying to suck you off, the one who's really like just talking to you. Yeah, that's the honest salesman. The one who you're like, I don't even know if I like this guy. That's the guy you want to do business with.
Yeah.
But the
and they don't have as much, like, you don't have as much skin in the game as the salesman. So you could genuinely want to get a good deal for someone, right?
Because, because usually if you're selling new cars, you're making what's called a minimum, a flat. So some dealerships that's $50 for the sale, some it's $100, some it's $200. But you're mostly making a flat if you're selling a new car. But the business manager, here's my tip for everybody: never get the extended warranty, ever.
What, like on
any vehicle? Don't ever get an extended warranty.
Really?
That's where they bang you out. They'll charge you like $30 extra a month and be like, oh, but don't worry because you're getting an extra X amount of miles and it covers this, 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 and this. And that's where they're banging you out with the extended warranty. Because the business manager gets a large chunk of that shit and they just add, they're allowed to sell it to you. They're allowed to charge you whatever the fuck they want to charge you. And then, so they might charge you $40 extra a month. And then unless you say, I want you to only charge me $10 extra a month, then they're going to charge you $40 and they're going to pocket the $30.
It's just a rate that they make up.
That's the way that most dealerships make their money now. Is not through the sale of the car, but on the back end through, oh, we're going to sell you an extended warranty, or we're going to throw in this extra thing or that extra thing.
It's strange that you say that because when I got my my Wrangler, even after we got the car, we signed the numbers, all this shit, and they were like, "Yeah, you have to meet with this final guy."
That's the business manager. Now, to be fair to them, you do always have to meet with that person because that's where you sign the contracts.
Oh, okay.
So you have to meet with that person.
I feel like it was after.
But the point is, you have to, when they try to sell you some extra shit, you say no.
Yeah, he wanted to put like something on my seats and like this and that, and I was like, "Good, dude."
That's the shit. They always try to sell you extra shit. Like, oh, you want the shine on the tires. You want the fucking thing that makes sure there's no stains on the seats. You want the fucking extended warranty. And again, older generations, they will always fall for that shit. I've seen my mom fall for it. I swear to God, my mom was with me the last time when I got a new car. Mm-hmm. And this actually wasn't that long ago. And I got a Subaru because I'm just a regular ass dude and I don't need to go nuts or anything.
Subaru's a good car.
I like it. I don't want to fucking, drive a crazy ass car or whatever. Yeah. I'm just a regular ass dude. I like that it's all wheel drive. I can get anywhere the fuck I want. But my mother was with me and I was signing the paperwork and the dude the business manager was talking and he's like, I told him how I used to be in the business and he hit me with, since you used to be in the business, I'm going to give you an awesome deal on an extended warranty.
Oh.
And my mom was like, oh, really? I'm like, oh, my God. I literally spoke to this guy for 2 minutes. He gives me that bullshit line, and you're falling for it? How do you fall for it? How do you fall for that? I was like amazed. I was like, come on, Mom, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Well, she's probably thinking like, oh, he knows that Kyle used to be in the business.
She takes him at fucking face value, not that he's a dude who's trying to fucking make a shitload more money.
Yo, they're savvy, man. I didn't know shit about cars, and Molly knew stuff about it. Like, she did her homework. They kept trying to get me in the room alone to get me to agree on shit. And then she was like, no. Like, so she was in the room every time with me because, like, they try to get me to sign shit.
Well, that's old school. That's real old school. Because back
in the day, they try to separate us.
Yeah, back in the day, that's like fucking 1980s style fucking fucked up car salesman shit. Yeah. That's why car salesmen have a bad name associated with them. Because there was a time when there were like no consumer protection rules, and these motherfuckers were sharks, and they would bang you out. Now the pendulum swung in the other direction, where consumers are a lot more educated now, and they can learn online. And like I said, most of the time the salesman's going to make a flat anyway. But yeah, if they're trying to separate you, that's like old school salesman fucking sleazy nonsense right there.
Yeah, but she was saying there's some shit now where you can like get them in trouble now, the car dealership, if you had a bad experience or something like that. I don't know if it was like not the Better Business Bureau or something.
That is one of the things you can do. Yeah, there's now, like I said, now the pendulum swung in the other direction where the consumers are educated. So the car salesmen don't fuck you as much anymore, but it's the business manager. And another thing is, you always ask, if you're purchasing a car, always ask what the sale price of the car, the price is of the car that they're charging you in total. Because oftentimes, if a salesman's an old school sleazy salesman, he'll just hit you with a monthly payment. He'll just be like, so I got you at 30 months, X amount per month, whatever it is. And then a lot of people will go, oh, I can afford that per month. But then you don't realize that he just charged you $2,000, $3,000 over sticker. And just put that into your payment.
So you could have got even a better deal?
So you got to tell them, what's the price I'm paying for the car? Don't just give me the fucking monthly. Give me the price I'm paying for the car.
That whole business is just, I hate that whole process.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think our generation is more, we just pick our shit and go.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, but even any process where, like, you have to go through, like, a final boss, like, type of shit to, like, get what you want. Seems shady. Like it makes me think of like the whole Bernie Madoff thing when like people wanted out of like they wanted their money out and they kept having to go through someone and then like they couldn't speak to fucking like they had to the final stage was to speak to maybe Bernie Madoff to like find out why you wanted to take your money out. That's what it seems like with the car business. It's just like go through this guy, and then it's like get to the final guy and he'll tell you about this. It's like let me just buy my shit.
It's layers of bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't trust any. And you know what's crazy? As bad as it is in the car industry, way worse in the fucking just financial industry. Motherfucking vultures are going to come for your money, you know, when it comes to like 401ks and retirement shit. They're virtually all bullshit. Like there's always fucking fine print where they try to fuck you.
Yeah,
always.
Even college debts and shit too. Like,
they're the worst. You can't even file for bankruptcy on student loan debt. That's the one type of debt where you can't file for bankruptcy. So people can owe fucking student loan payments when they're 60 years old.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, and it holds people back. In fact, I just read, I was going to do a story on it for my next show, and I still might. I haven't made up my mind yet, but listen to this shit. This is an amazing fact about our generation. 80% of millennials don't own a home. Among millennial renters, 83% say student debt is holding them back from buying a home.
Yeah,
those numbers are fucking unbelievable. Those numbers are like, you guys are fucked and deal with it.
80%, Jesus Christ.
Those numbers are like, you guys are fucked and deal with it. That's what that is.
It used to be, and I think my brother was talking to my dad about this shit. Like you used to like aspire to be better than like your like parents, you know, like you would have a house.
The American dream. You're gonna climb the economic ladder.
Yeah, and then you would take care of them eventually. But now it's become a time where it's like you move back in with your parents.
This is the first time that the next generation is not expected to surpass the previous generation.
Yeah, that type of shit.
And now Canada ranks above us on that issue, the issue of the American dream, economic mobility, social mobility, that they rank ahead of us. So you're more likely, if you're born into a middle-class family, to make more money. You're more likely, if you're born into a poor family in Canada, to make it to the middle class. Whereas here, you're more likely to be stagnant or even do worse. So that is scary when you think about it, isn't it? Because it just shows you we've been sold a bunch of bullshit. That's what it is. That's what that means. Yeah. It means they've been lying to you. And we all know.
And like you always say, the rich are getting richer.
Yeah, of course. The income inequality and wealth inequality is through the fucking roof. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just that they've been telling us from when we were kids, like, oh, if you work hard, like, you'll get ahead. And it's like, well, what if that's just not the case? And then they have these things they say, like, oh, this is the land of opportunity. Okay, but can you show me exactly how you prove that, like with the data? And they go, well, no, well, technically Canada's better on that front. So then don't fucking, it's just bullshit that, like, you know, people still say, like, immigrants all want to come here. It's like, what does that even mean? You're not talking about the actual facts of what economic mobility is like, because once you do that, you go, oh, we're actually kind of not doing well compared to other modern nations. So it's just, it's sad because, and our generation, they want all the right things. Like when you look at what we want to make it like the other developed countries, but we don't have power, number one. And number two, the older generations fuck shit up. And number three, they're so corrupt that they can't fucking see straight. They don't even think about it, you know? That's why I have a special hatred for millennial bashing. Because that shit just really gets under my skin. Especially when somebody from the older generation shits on millennials. Yeah. It's like, you fucking morons. Like, it's your generation that we're bombing 8 countries right now. That's not us, that's you. You fucking did that. You did that. We wasted $7 trillion in Iraq. You did that. It's not us, you did that. Fucking economy crashed in 2008. And people like us, we graduated right into the heart of the fucking dead market in 2010. We're the children of the fucking recession. That's what we are. Right when we were supposed to get jobs is when everybody was like, we're firing fucking everybody now. Like, we're the children of the fucking recession. And then people are going to scold us? You're going to scold us. We graduated into zero opportunity. Most people up to their fucking eyeballs in student loan debt. And you're going to scold us?
Yeah, none of it was our fault, but we take all the blame for it.
Right, and then they're going to get mad at us when, like, you know, when we're for Bernie Sanders. Like, oh, he's radical. No, maybe you're just fucking idiots and he's right. Maybe that's the case.
I don't know where I heard it or who said it, but, like, they were talking about who the next, I think it might have been on Mar, but it was, like, who the next candidate should be, and they were going through all these people, and it was just like, how about we just get rid of all these old fucking people and stop with all these lists of people that are just fucking recycled old fucking geezers, bring in some fucking millennials or some shit who are with the times, you know?
Yeah, but the problem is, as much as the millennials are right on the issues, there aren't as many political figure millennials that are right on the issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they exist. Like, for example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is running to unseat Joseph Crowley in Congress. She's a millennial, and she's totally right on everything. But there's not as many of us in politics yet. Like, we're getting there, but as of right now, the best representative of the millennial ideology happens to be the oldest politician, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, true. Well, that's why I think eventually there's going to be that wave where it's, I don't know if it's 10 years, 15 years.
I hope, man. I mean, it certainly feels that way. Yeah, it certainly feels that way because there's our generation graduating into the recession. That did radicalize us in a way where we realized the deregulation and the laissez-faire free market, that's the problem. Like, that was the problem. So you're not going to have as many libertarians in our generation when we know that George W. Bush and Bill Clinton were deregulating Wall Street and deregulating everything in sight and screwing up the economy. And so we know that, like, hey, man, maybe it's a good idea to regulate Wall Street. Maybe it's a good idea to have unions. Maybe it's a good idea to have a living wage. Maybe we should have free health care. Like, we know that's where we lean politically. So you would think that when our generation gets in power, that you're going to have more people who believe in the right things and are willing to fight for the right things, and people who, by the way, are not as religious. Mm-hmm. But it is possible, I hate to say this, but it's true, it is possible that the system is the thing that corrupts people. So at a certain point, even our generation, only the people who get corrupted by the system are the ones who rise through the system. And then everything just stays business as usual.
That's a good argument.
And then that's scary, because if that's the case, man, we're just super fucked. We're just fucked.
You would hope that isn't the case with, like, not outliers, but people who have went a different route, like you and other people on the YouTube channels that haven't gone the regular routes of like I don't know, CNN or whatever other ways you've come up through the ranks, interning or some shit, that you've already went through that whole grind of not the usual process, that when it were to come a time where you were in a position to be in some political power, you wouldn't conform to that. Like,
yeah. I mean,
shit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think what might be true is a mix of those two things. Like, it might be true that you have people who are pretty principled, but still willing to play ball in the system a little bit. You know what I mean? So you might have, like, a lot of Elizabeth Warren type people that are millennials that get elected who are, like, kind of have one foot in the establishment Democrat camp just to play nice with everybody, but then the other foot is like, okay, I'm going to get the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in place here and return billions of dollars to customers who were defrauded by Wall Street. You know what I mean? So, I feel like our generation could be full of people like that. People who are pragmatic enough to say, I gotta fucking play ball in the system to even get any power at all. But then at the same time, they really are going to fight for many of the right things. Like, I think that might happen with our generation. I hope so. But then at the same time, now there's a big uptick in this white nationalism shit, you know? Like, that's a thing now. Like there's
KKK?
No, white nationalism, like Richard Spencer, he's the alt-right asshole.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you have a lot of people who are not outwardly white nationalists, but they kind of flirt with the ideology, who are popular, people like Stefan Molyneux. Like, there's a lot of people who are right-wing, who are kind of popular. Ben Shapiro has a big following now. To be fair to him, he's not white nationalist at all, but he's very, very down the line, doctrinaire right-wing. And, like, people like that are seeing a resurgence, and they're seeing a lot of popularity. And I don't know exactly how much that'll translate into, like, is this the generation behind millennials that are falling into this? Like, is that what that is? Like, our generation is pretty solidly left-wing, and then the generation right behind us are the right-wing ones? Like, I don't know. I can't really put my finger on exactly what it is. All I know is that there's a decent number of popular right-wing figures now that are kind of also influencing a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a pendulum and it swings back and forth, but yeah, certain things that see a resurgence, or I wouldn't have guessed would have ever seen a resurgence. You know, like the neo-Nazis with the fucking tiki torches and shit.
Yeah,
like,
it's always like fucking corny, like University of Virginia, just white boys that like wear khakis and polos.
They were protesting a Confederate monument being taken down. That's what they decided was important enough for them to protest. I mean, that's almost so stupid, it's not even worth commenting on. It's like, really? That's what you're fucking upset about? Could you imagine sitting in your fucking dorm and going, why don't they keep up fucking General Lee? It's like, that's what fucking makes you impassioned? Not the fact that half the country makes $30,000 a year or less. That you don't care about that thing? It's just, General Lee, really?
Dude, people get fucking riled up for anything. I mean, like, I guess, like, the crazy left-hand side people would get fucking pissed if, like, they tore down a Whole Foods in their local fucking, Brooklyn neighborhood or some shit.
The crazy left-wing people are the ones who are insisting that there's fucking, like, 70 genders.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the crazy left-wing people who are like, you misgendered me, and now you should be fired or some shit. Like, those are the crazy left-wing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some weird fucking generations to come, and shit's only gonna get worse and weirder.
Okay, so let's wrap up the podcast, because I know you wanted to close early tonight. You got some stuff you got to handle. So best Attitude Era wrestler, Stone Cold, 52%. Edges out The Rock, 48% for The Rock.
Wow.
Best wrestling group, DX, 54%, beats NWO, 46%.
Those were close, though.
So I like the results for the Stone Cold one, because in my mind it's close too. I think they're both really legendary, those two.
Yeah.
And I like the results for the DX one, because I think DX is better.
Yeah, same.
Best Gatorade. Oh, we fucking called it, man. Oh, no, we were one off. But blue...
I'm going to guess the last two were switched,
that's
yellow
right.
and orange.
Blue, 45%, red, 24%, yellow, 18%, orange, 13%.
Okay.
So we were one off, but we were... Overall, I like the results of the polls tonight.
Yeah.
That's just me. Okay.
Those were good. Send in better poll fucking questions, Twitter world. You guys are fucking up. Nobody cares about Texas, San Antonio, and fucking Fort Wayne or whatever the fuck
don't be mean to our lovely viewers.
I've never been to Texas. So
we'll think of some. Not as many popped in my mind this week, but
Yeah,
enough
I gotta
will
start thinking something
soon
too.
enough. Yeah, like they'll come to you and you'll be like, I gotta jot that down. Just
Yeah.
next time, definitely jot it down, basically. But
I gotta jot that down, but definitely just jot it down.
yeah, because that's what I do. I'll be
You
like,
wouldn't
I
jot
gotta
that
write
shit
that
down?
down, and then I don't write it down, and then I'm like, I forgot it. What was it? I was the thing I said I had to write down. I didn't write it down.
Fucking hate that, man. I wish you could really I wish there was a universal day. It's just like November 27th is a day that everyone just remembers all the shit that they forgot that they
Oh
were gonna
no,
say.
because I think I probably forgot more fucked up things than good things.
True. No, but there's some shit that like you genuinely are like, fuck, what the fuck was I gonna say? And you just never remember it.
Oh, that's true, and those are heartbreaking. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that was really good. Like, well, you don't get it. What I was gonna say was like brilliant.
Yeah. Seinfeld had a bit about that shit. He was like, I think dogs are the only pets that you can stop them en route to where they were going, and they would just never like they never want to they never would have get. And I don't know what the fuck.
That
It was like
crashed
they're
and
going
burned.
somewhere, and then you stop them, and they just never would have went to that place again, or something like that. I don't know what the fuck the bit was. It's something similar to that. Look it up.
You're regretting saying that right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, in my mind, I know exactly what I want to say. It sounds brilliant.
I've had those moments too when I'm trying to make a point on air, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this shit out perfect, and then I start talking, and I'm like, this is not going well.
I do that all the time. No,
That
but you're
happens.
better at articulating that shit.
Well, because I've had fucking 6 years of honing it, but still, even now to this day, I'm like, I didn't sharpen that point enough there. It kind of came off flat, so it's a constant struggle. But all right, guys, we love you very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Peace, bitches.